right, we're coming towards the end of the year, and I was hoping I can build one more model before we get there. And I thought, what can I build that's kind of quick? And I thought I'd tackle this one, the King Kong's Thronester. Now, I've built a number of these kits before. You can check a few on my channel. As a matter of fact, I suggest going back to the Dracula Dragster, where I kind of explain, all the kits in the series. So this would be my fourth one, and it's a Polar Lights reissue of an Aurora kit. Again, sometimes they call them wacky vehicles, sometimes monster mobiles. I don't know what the definitive name of this series is, if there even is one. But let's see what's in here before I open the box. And again, this is an open box kit, but I haven't looked. I never, opened it up. Got a whole bunch of these at once at the same time. And before I actually open it up, I just want to say I'll probably build it as, simple as I can because, I want to get it done before the end of the year. So I don't think I'm going to build a base. It's big enough. And the only really thing I have to do is figuring out what kind of colors I want to use. Do I use, try to use the mock up the ones that are on the box art here, or something completely different? So let's take a quick look before we start. Oh, this is new. Never seen this, an ad for Amazing Figure Modeler. I do have a bunch of these older magazines I picked up years ago, and very informative, but this is probably too old. There's comic books, pop culture, Bunky Brothers from, I'm not sure what this is from. Anyhow, whoever owned the kit had this before. So, still in 2 bags over here, some nice big pieces. This seems to be molded just like the, the same kind of plastic for the Dracula Dragster, where it's kind of a tan. And I had a lot of luck with that one. Really, everything pretty much fit. So I'm hoping the same will be here. Simple instructions. Oops, if I can get it open. Simple engine, the carriage, and Kong himself with his little silly crown over there. And they have some, I don't know if this is spider on the back or not. I did a little research online to see other people who have built a kit. And again, it's really all about choosing different colors for this thing. So, oh yeah, there's a spider web in the back. Maybe I can do something with that. Anyhow, let's get started. Alright, it doesn't look like I've done too much, but there was a lot of work that I have done. Number one, did a lot of sanding on this kit. Not so much flashes, just pieces, little bits and pieces here and there. So I did a lot of sanding, and the only areas where I started gluing and seeing some trouble spots were the arms over here, where this was kind of a large gap that needed some puttying, but not that big a deal. It's all puttied up and ready to go. One thing I want to try for this kit, and something I've been meaning to do for quite a long time, is to try some all-clad over here. This is a chrome paint. And basically, you put this black base, which is a glossy black, very, very thin, and then wait it overnight, and then you put this lacquer chrome on it, again, straight out of the bottle. These things are very, very thin. You put them in the airbrush, and off you go at a low PSI, 15 PSI or so. And I wanted to try that for a long time, and on this kit in particular, I saw that they had these beautiful chrome mufflers over here, or mufflers, and I said I would love to chrome these pieces, and as you can see, it came out really, really well. This is great, a great chrome paint over here. And having done that, I says, well, I'd like to make the crown a gold, and I could use gold paint, but I says it's actually better with the chrome and then putting a clear yellow on top, because I've done that before in the past, if you've seen my videos, and that comes out great. And I said I might as well do these, crownish hubcaps, if you want to call them that. And so I started painting these chrome as well. And then after I took a look at the box thing, I got to figure out, what I'm going to color, what paint I'm going to use for all the rest of the stuff. And I noticed on the box art, they had this as chrome. And I says, you know what? And actually, I did these exhausts over here too. And again, this is on the box art. It's chrome. And so I says, you know what? I'm going to paint everything over here. Try to paint it as per the box art. So this is going to be yellow over here, and again, most of the other things, if I can, and it kind of makes sense, I'll paint them, maybe with a few variances, just like the box top cover, which is, I usually don't do that for these weird kits. I tend to use, completely different color schemes. But I'm going to give that a go. Now, one thing I like to get rid of seams, and that means putting things together, putting them up, and then painting them, but I could not put together his face over here with his mouth because that really needs to be painted beforehand. So I did that, and also for these bat things, although here it's not that critical, I could have done that at any time. But now that I've done the the critical things that needed to be painted, I can finish off priming the rest. I've done a few pieces, but priming all the rest and then putting it together. And because of this piece over here, the transmission, it's kind of weird. I can't, just tack it on afterwards. You basically build a sled, putty it up, and then put this on, because the way this works, this goes on the back over here, but then there's these pieces that wrap around both ends. So I can only paint, these in pieces and then assemble it later as I put this. So I'll have to do that, but I looked at it. It doesn't look like there are really any problem areas that I should encounter that need putting, so hopefully that'll look okay, just glued together standalone. And the last thing I thought I would do is maybe add an Andaro character, because just like in the movies, just like in the novel, there's Andaro, the so-called Fey Ray character that he rescues and falls in love with. So I have these little miniature figurines that I've picked up over years, saying I can always use them for kits. I'm not sure where, I'm not sure when. I got bags full of this stuff over here and different sizes. So I took out like 3 sizes of women, and I think if I do use it, and that's the big if, I'll probably use this one over here. And then I'd have to see if I can modify it to make her look like Andaro in the movies, maybe. Or maybe like this, I don't know. But it definitely needs a paint job. These are terrible paint jobs on these things, and they do need a lot of work to fix them up. But maybe I can do something with it. I'll only do that at the end, once I've built the rest of the kit, and saying, does it make sense? Can I put it somewhere where it kind of complements the kit and works with the rest? So that remains to be seen. And now continue on with the painting. Okay, as you can see, we've done a lot of painting over here. A lot of priming, and then a lot of painting. Different types of paints. The yellow is all Tamiya airbrush paints, and then some of it is craft paints and different types of crafts paints. And again, I tried to follow more or less the scheme of the box art. Some of the things you couldn't really see what color they are, like the sign over here, and so I did my best. I'm happy with what I have. One thing I did is this is holds the steering column. It's kind of the base, and in the kit itself, this was all opened up, and I really didn't like that. So I took part of plastic. I think it was from a CD case or something like that, and stuck it in there, cut out more or less to the shape I needed. Did some filling, and then prime this so you won't see that big hole in the back, which I really didn't like. And that's to hold this absolutely ridiculous steering wheel. I wish I had something else to use, and I might change it, but I don't know, maybe I'll just go with it. I've done what I said in terms of, doing the face, where now I can, put in the mouth over here and then glue it, but then afterwards I can prime, see the seams and putty up all these seams over here, and then go back and just paint that stuff. And again, this is mostly painted, but there'll still be a lot of dry brushing and stuff like, some things will have gloss, some things won't have gloss. I've already, glossed like in interior in the mouth over here. And the only thing I want to mention at this point is something that I forgot to do, is basically when I glued this over here for the wheels, as you can see inside, I did not paint that at all, and I just left it. So what I've been doing now is actually going in with a brush into the bigger holes and painting it black. It doesn't have to be perfect because you really don't see too much, but it really bugs me that I forgot to do that. So something, if you're building this kit, make sure you paint it before you glue those pieces together. And then I'll still have some, like the crown. I said I want to spray on some clear yellow to make that gold. Although I used a marker for the gold on this little, hood ornament that's kind of looking like an eye. And I tried a marker just to see that. It's going to be a little different, but it doesn't matter. And then again, I've got to do the spider. But as you can see, this is one of those kits where basically almost, in my case, everything is almost painted now. Other than the things I mentioned, and it's just basically putting it together and doing a lot of dry brushing and then the clears, and hopefully it'll look nice in the end. So as you can see, Kong is coming along nicely over here, but I did want to mention a few things that I ran into, some problems or issues I ran into getting this far. So first of all, the mouth. So when I glued the mouth back into the front of the face over here, I noticed that there were some gaps, and I was kind of worried that you might see the gaps later. It was one of those borderline calls. I wasn't sure if I needed to close them or not. And then I said, well, how could I close them? I don't have any black putty or sprue glue because I was worried if everything I have is white. So if you'd see, the white, and then I wouldn't be able to go into that fine crease in there and paint it up. So I said, let me make some black sprue glue. And the way you make sprue glue, in case you don't know, and you can go online and check, is basically you take a sprue. In this case, I needed black, so I took a black old sprue from a model, broke it up into little pellets over here like this, and then basically what you use is either add Tamiya extra thin cement, or which is really the same thing, the Tamiya airbrush cleaner. And basically what you do is you put it in a container, as I did here, an old tester's jar, and you mix it, and you basically have to leave it overnight. And what it does is, just like glue regularly does with sprue, it actually melts it. But now it becomes something that you can apply as a putty and a gap filler, and then when it dries, it's basically back to the sprue itself, to the plastic. So anyhow, I did that in his mouth, covered everything up, and it looked everything was fine there. And then I assembled the rest of Kong over here, and then I had to sand. Now there was a lot of sanding to be done, especially like in the shoulder areas over here, because these things kind of lift up as ridges. And so after doing all that sanding, I noticed that there were a lot of flat areas. And again, when you're sanding over a texture, you lose that texture. So I lost a lot of texture over there. I wasn't happy at all. You can see it clearly that there was, flat areas. So what I did is I said, okay, I have to recreate that texture, but because of because of the way the texture looks, sanding, basically scribing the lines wasn't going to work over here. So I said I'd try something different. And what I did is I took my pencil tip soldering iron and basically went in and made some lines. But again, they're not straight lines. They're kind of little, they've got, some shape to it, some little curves to it. And some are deeper, some are shallow, and I just made a few lines everywhere where I had flat areas. Again, not to make it perfect, because you can never get this perfect this layer, this making it look like this, but enough that it looks like the texture that was there before, and at least a lot better. So Kong is just about ready over here. All he needs is some dry brushing to, again, have that texture pop up. And I think he'll be done after that. And then I've pretty much done a lot of work, gluing of some of the other pieces. Now, another problem area I ran into was putting on these side pipes onto the motor. And the way it works is this has to fit over this piece over here. Now, luckily, as I was gluing this, I dry fitted that to make sure it would fit. And it did not, because what happened was these pipes were kind of, edging inwards, and you can see that this is right now where they're coming down straight. It's just enough for this to fit. So luckily I noticed that right away, and what I did is I went in the back of these heads over here, the engine heads, and just grinded them up a little bit so that these pipes would go in there. I don't think I would have had that problem if I put these last, but again, in the instructions, all of these are, it just says, they all go together. They don't say this goes before this or anything like that. So maybe I wouldn't have had that problem if I put these last, but then again, then these would be sticking out a little bit more. So, but it was no big deal. Again, just grind them up a bit and now they fit. So again, now with everything pretty much painted up, as you can see, I also put a little, I did the spider over here, and I did the some future on this eye as well as Kong's eye so that it, glistens a bit. And all I really have to do is, after that dry brushing that I mentioned, is to put it all together. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention in the last segment was I had already finished the crown. As I mentioned, I put the chrome on it and then the clear yellow to get that gold effect. The only thing is I didn't do too good a job of sanding it beforehand, but it's still really, really like it compared to what it would have been if I had just painted it. Now, I mentioned the aspect I didn't like about this kit. In order to get, you had to build this. And if you want to paint everything, keep them clean lines and everything, you really have to build that, the sled part of it afterwards. And sure enough, now that I have getting all this done, you can see all the seam lines. And to be honest, I had a little struggle fitting everything to the best of the ability, because they're not perfect fits. So everywhere it's kind of a little close here, and you're kind of squeezing it. So I even marred it up as I was building it. So what it's going to mean is I'm going to try to, sand that all off, putty it, and then repaint just that section. And hopefully we won't have any more issues. And one of the ironies of this thing is supposed to have that the wheels can turn, and they can, but it's a really tight fitting wheel, if you want to call it that. So I'm not sure if the wheels are going to turn really afterwards anyhow. But at least I can manage this. That's the main thing. So we'll take a little longer than I anticipated. And here he is, the 8th wonder of the world, King Kong, in all his glory. So got through with the model. A few issues putting the last pieces together. And again, it comes because they have these panels where they say, a whole bunch of pieces come together, and they don't really tell you what order they should be put in. So I put the body in before I put the steering wheel in, figuring it was going to be easy to slip that in there, but it wasn't. So I had to do a chop off just a little base of that steering wheel, the silly steering wheel, and I got it in. But to get everything, especially Kong, in place, settled into his seat the way it's supposed to be, it's kind of a little finicky. And I had to use, ballast sometimes, and sometimes even double ballast to get, the motor in and him and everything all nice and snug. So as you can see, I did repaint and reprime the front of that body. It was a lot of work. It wasn't fun, I'll say that much, but at least it looks so much better now. Aside from that, all the wheels turn, but again, you can see my little gaff. At least I can see it over here. When I look into those wheels, I really wish I'd painted them black or any other color really. And I still probably am going to go in, try to get in there and paint them slowly through those large holes, but I'm not going to kill myself either. But that's one big gaff. The silly spider, again, there's 2 glue points over here. This is left dangling. I might put a drop of paint in there, but at least he's hanging in there. I got the little faces. I like these faces, but like everything else, it just doesn't quite fit with the model. But I had a lot of fun building these faces and trying to get some detail in there. I did some washes, actually did some dry brushing for Kong, and I think I should have done a little bit more. I can probably see more than you can see in the video. I mean, I do see the lines, but it's not, very evident as some of others. I've seen other people do it where they do it much heavier than that, but I like it. I don't know if you can see, I tried to put a little pinkish in his nose in there, very, very lightly, and his little nipples, because that's supposed to be like kind of like bear skin popping through. And again, like I said, I did not glue the crown because I want to touch up. There's little pieces in the base of the crown where it wasn't painted because I had something to hold it when I was doing the painting with the gold. So overall, I really like the kit. Again, I try to make it as much as possible as the original box art, as you just saw a few minutes ago. And it's going to be going on my shelves along with the other 3 from the series that I have. So this will be the 4th. Now I have the Frankenstein Flivver to build still. And I'm still keeping my eye out to get the Godzilla go-kart and then, finish the series. So, I do have an idea of what I'm going to be doing next. Either like the immediate model or the one after that for a group build. I don't want to spoil it. Some people know what it is already, but I'm not sure I'm going to make that one next because I'm waiting for some electronics for another kit I really want to get to very soon. And I don't know what's going to happen. The electronics should arrive in a few days, but we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to wait or just start this other, group build I mentioned. So, given that this is, the end of the year, I want to wish everybody a happy, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. And it was a good year for me in terms of, builds. A little, one a month more or less. I wish it was more, but at least I can say I did that as much as possible. And I got a lot of stuff in my stash this year. I'm probably going to make another one of those odds and ends videos to show another, theme from what's in my stash. And a few more glory shots after this for the great mighty King Kong.